You may have seen that Johnny Depp's band, Hollywood Vampires, they cancelled a concert recently. And that turned out to be because it was an unsafe venue. And that gives me an excuse, well, I'm bleeding to death after cutting myself shaving, to have a little chat about something I hope you might find interesting. Because you may have heard these stories about bands insisting backstage they have a bowl of M&Ms, but no blue ones. Are they just being divas? No, there's actually a really practical, good reason for doing that. So let's explore why. And again, a bit of background. In my misspent youth before coming to the bar, I actually rode it for bands. You know, started out humping flight cases and then got into sort of like sound and lights and eventually tour management. And that's what led me into the law ultimately. So we used to deal a lot with contracts. Now, when you book a gig, whether it's part of a tour or an individual gig, the management company or the record company, but usually the management company, they're one party to the contract, and the promoter is the other. And the contract will say something to the effect of, you know, on X date, you will perform a set of, you know, however many minutes, and this will be the fee. However, they also have like additional fees if they sell more than a certain number of tickets. So it'll be like, this is your fee if, say, up to 2,000 people, 10,000 people, whatever attend. But then going on from that, if there's, you know, 50 more people or 500 more people, you'll get X percent of the ticket price, maybe 30%. Or, and then if it goes beyond that, and if it's over 2,000 people or 10,000, you know, however, it's all on scales, then you'll get 50%, and eventually you might get 70% of ticket sales. Which incidentally is why when people say, can you stick us on the guest list, it's a real pain because of the weird economics and the sliding scales, it would often be cheaper just to buy you a ticket. And that's also why, if you've ever walked into a venue and you've seen somebody there with a clicker counting people in, that's not the health and safety thing. That's the usually you'll have somebody from the promoter side and somebody from the band management side just keeping tabs because, you know, otherwise you'll get these things where you do big gigs and it's like, oh yeah, only 300 people turned up tonight, so there's no extra fees. And it's like, hang on, you know, they were bursting out the fire doors. So that's the standard contract. But on the back of the contract, we have something called a rider. Any sort of contract could have a rider, but it's a term that we do use a lot in the music industry, the rider. And the riders are why you set out all the additional specifics for that particular gig. And it'll be all the technical stuff for a start. It'll be things like, you know, you must have sort of three-phase supply, 110 volts, at least 80 amps per phase, plus one single phase, 220 volt at 40 amps per phase. It's rather weird in Europe. Lighting equipment is 110 volts and sound equipment is 220 volts. And there's quite an art in planning all this. You know, I've got friends who are lighting designers and they don't just do all the pretty lights. They have to do all the, well, at one stage we'll have these lights coming on and these lights. So we need to make sure that for that moment, they're all split across these two phases. So, you know, we've got enough power there, etc., etc. But it'll cover things like health and safety. A lot of band equipment, like lighting rigs and PA systems, they're flown from the ceiling. So you need to know that the anchor points are strong enough to take it, or that the stage is strong enough. Because, you know, stages have collapsed and rigs have come down, you know, with tragic results. So this is something we take very, very seriously. So, and we're going to come on to the M&Ms thing in a moment. It will also contain things like what we want backstage. You know, we want dressing rooms, plug sockets, hairdryer, clean towels, access to showers, and the food. You know, we must, you know, 10 vegetarian meals and, you know, sort of snacks, things. I mean, a lot of bands actually take their own catering, but it's not uncommon to sort of use the venue catering. But this is where you'll put the thing, and we want a bowl of M&Ms with no blue ones, or some other seemingly ridiculous request. So why are we doing that? It's actually for health and safety reasons. If we want, you know, to make sure the rigging points are safe and that they're actually checked all this, well, if you go in there and the bowl of M&Ms is correct, you know chances are they've actually read all the technical spec, and that's correct. But if you go in there and they've just got things like, you know, the number of towels wrong, or the, you know, the number of sandwiches, or it's on the wrong bread, or something like that, it just lets you know that actually they just don't care. They might not have read any of this. So if you go in there and, like I say, your bowl of M&Ms is there and it's perfect and there's no blue ones. Well, yeah, they've probably checked everything else. If it isn't, they haven't read that. But here's the thing. They're now in breach of contract. You just make this an actual condition of the contract that you must have the M&Ms with no blue ones. And if they don't do that, then you can just walk away, because you don't need to worry about we need to prove that it's not a safe venue, or we're going to get in a big argument about the electricity supply and the circuit breakers. We just go, and we're not in breach of contract, so we still get paid. So hopefully you might have found that interesting. Just to give you a little anecdote about riders. One of the best ones I ever saw, Hugh Lloyd-Langton of Hawkwind, because their rider had all the stuff on, and it said, about what they wanted backstage. It said, we require comfortable dressing rooms, showers, towels, high quality meals. And then she said, however, we've been in this business long enough to know that what we're actually going to get is, we're in the broom cupboard and we'll be lucky if we get a bucket of KFC. So there you go, more tales, well, not from the bar, from the road. I've got quite a few of these, actually. Anyway, if you did find that interesting, please consider clicking the like button, and also consider subscribing. And now I'm off to go and try and find if I've got a styptic pencil somewhere.